Well, we hadn't been out to the wreck since last fall. It was the last time we went out. And then in March, we got a weather break, and they were calling for like 3 or 4 days of good weather. That's very unusual for March up here in the Northeast. And so once we found out that we was going to get a weather window and everything looked like it was going to work, we said, let's go. So we grabbed up some groceries real quick, threw everybody on board, cast off the lines, and off we steamed out there.
On the last episode of the Port Nicholson Experience, the crew of the Sea Hunter was hard at work preparing for the coming salvage season. After a long winter stuck at the dock, the crew is anxious to get underway. With $4 billion in treasure on the line, even a brief weather window isn't a chance they will pass up. Though late March is not known for its favorable conditions, the crew has worked to ensure their safety and success, no matter the risk.
NOAA is the National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration. They basically call all the weather, the ocean weather. And what they do is they have upper air charts, like the jet stream charts. They have all kinds of different charts that I basically put together, and that's exactly what they do. They put together all these like surface charts, air charts, all these charts together to actually make the text forecast. So what I do is I try to make the text forecast out of all, like they do with all their upper air charts and surface analysis and stuff like that.
When we look at the weather, we try to look under 5-foot seas to head out. All right, we can work into a little more than that, maybe 7. But when you get into 7-foot seas, the ROV doesn't know it because it's down on the bottom. It really doesn't affect us too much on the ship. But what happens is when the ROV comes back up, it doesn't always come directly up right beside the ship. It comes off at a distance, and he has to fly it back to the ship. And it's extremely dangerous when those 7-foot seas start throwing it against the hull of the ship.
The call is made, and the crew prepares the Sea Hunter for the 10-hour journey ahead. The lines are cast, and the ship eases out of its berth. They leave late Thursday night to avoid the bad luck that comes with leaving on a Friday. This is an old maritime superstition that many modern sailors still adhere to. As they leave the lights of Boston behind, each crew member is hopeful that this is the trip on which they will accomplish their goal.
The goal is to get inside and get good HD video of what's in there. And that way, a picture's worth 1,000 words. We can present that to the people that back this.
Dawn, somewhere off the coast of Massachusetts. As the crew awakens, the ship is approaching its destination.
We're 9.2 miles from the site. The seas are roughly, 1 foot or less. It's actually really good right now.
At more than 600 feet deep, the Port Nicholson wreck awaits their arrival. After a hearty breakfast and a few pots of coffee, the crew prepares for the long day ahead.
Well, we have our anchoring system is basically we have a 5-ton anchor with like 20 feet of chain on it, real heavy chain. We're talking like 90 pounds per link of chain. And then we have a 1,000-foot, 1-inch cable that runs up to a 1,000-gallon propane tank, which is our buoy. So what we do is we had one on the north side of the wreck and one on the south side of the wreck, because the wreck actually sits, its bow is sitting straight east, due east, 90 degrees. So we used to like hook up, we have winches on the stern and in the bow of the Sea Hunter. So I would bow up to a buoy, the bow buoy, and we hook onto it. We actually have a stern anchor now on the A-frame on the ship. So what we do is we just pull up, I bow up to the Sea Hunter, the guys hook up the cable, and I back down over the wreck and drop the A-frame anchor on the north side of the wreck where the buoy used to be.
You have to be in a perfect position to work the wreck. If you're 150 yards from it and you only got 140 yards of cord, you have problems. You need the ship to be able to stay in place.
If we're inside the wreck and the ship moves, we could sever the umbilical, lose the ROV. It just would be a bad day, you know, because it may take us 4 hours. We may be able to fly in the wreck, but it may take us 4 to 6 hours to get outside the wreck afterwards.
We're going to back into the buoy and grab the anchor cable, transfer it to the other buoy, and that's it. Everybody understand what to do? Yeah. Okay.
I got it.
Buoy's going to come up on deck.
How you gonna round? Shh. It's story time.
A-frame's going to be tied into it. One of those two things on the top. Ryan's going to lay it on the deck right there, okay?
Having endured multiple intense winter storms, the marking buoy is significantly weathered. The crew must pull it out of the water to inspect its condition. Even the most mundane tasks become more difficult in the unforgiving waters of the North Atlantic. With the buoy out of the sea, they find its damage to be mostly cosmetic. They release it and begin the equally difficult job of hooking it to the bow of the ship. The taut steel cable is always in danger of snapping and severely injuring a crew member, so everyone must be especially careful during this part of the mission. Success. Now that the bow buoy is in place, they switch their attention to the stern anchor. In between serious tasks, company owner Greg Brooks lightens the crew's spirits. The 20,000-pound stern anchor must be handled carefully, or the consequences could be dire. If not maneuvered correctly, the anchor could damage the back of the boat or the A-frame from which it swings. Once off the back of the ship, it begins its 10-minute journey to the bottom of the ocean.
The 10-minute count, 10 minutes and 15 seconds, that's how long it takes for the anchor to reach the bottom. Now what the bridge is trying to do is set two different anchors so the boat will balance in a kind of like a hammock does, exactly over a spot on shipwreck that I've dictated. So they predicted where they could best do that. They need that anchor to drop in exactly that spot. So what they need to know is how long before we start dropping the anchor will it reach that spot? And it takes 10 minutes and 15 seconds.
With the stern anchor set, the crew makes the switch to ROV operations. The smaller video ray ROV is removed from its dock inside the much larger Mark V and placed in the water so the ROV pilot, Kevin, can test the current.
Let's see if we can come back.
The system that we have here, we made this up ourselves. We have to figure out a way to launch this when we get down there. When you see what I do here, I'm going to be coiling this umbilical inside these two tubes that are on side the bigger ROV. And you coil one in one way and one the other so there's no twists in it. It's going to have a simple release mechanism that we're just going to let it go with the claw on a float. It's going to fly out of there. And then we can fly the small ROV out and it will uncoil just like a slinky. It's pretty amazing when you see it. We tested it Never in really deep water, but it seems to work very well. But it just gets loaded in there like a giant slinky, and then when we get down there and release it, it uncoils and comes out. So hopefully we'll be able to deliver it where it needs to go.
While waiting for the correct tide, the crew takes a brief reprieve for relaxation. Little do they know that dark clouds loom on the horizon.
This mission we're getting ready for could be a make or break thing.
At that point in time, I was running out of options as far as to how to repair it.
And the rest was in survival mode, just trying to escape the wreck.